This video is about making this line chart. Basically, is to compare the progress of this new virus with the 2003 SARS cases. So the number of cases over time were put in timeline so as to compare the speed and the spreading of the disease. So all the data are saved, actually those SARS data are saved in the SARS report, which is in individual CS formats with a separate file saving for the date of each report. So the whole process is gonna, because it is, we have to read these CSV files. So there is an async problem. So we have to, basically we have to wait until each file is loaded, then process the data and do the next thing. So because of this async issue, we're gonna nest the programs into the structures like this. So the first is that we're gonna read the SARS report dates, which is this CSV file. And then according to the dates we have, then we're gonna read the individual CSV files. And for each file, according to their number, which is the file name, we're going to determine the report date that is recorded in this report dates file. And then with the SARS data, we're going to again read the new virus data, and we're going to put them together. And then we're going to make chart. So we're going to follow this nested structure. So the first part is this. We're going to read the CSV file. And because the data is quite messy, so there are two learnings here. The first is that for the values, we have to remove those heading and trailing white space. So actually, the SARS data is quite messy. We need to do a lot of things to clean it up. For example, those white space and also strange characters and excessive like quotes in the string and so on. And also the date format is not standardized, and we're going to rearrange that. So this part is going to deal with that. So I did try to use the moment to change the string into the date values. So I did try to use this moment to change that into time values. But later I found that it caused a lot of trouble for me when I draw the line charts in TalkChat. It seems that the TalkChat works not so well with this moment data. So eventually I didn't use this moment form objects. All right, so this part is for getting the report dates. So the results will be like, it will be the ID, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And, and we're going to have the report dates. So these are the ID and the report dates are corresponding to the name of the CSV files. The next part is to get CSV data in each individual CSV files. Well, the learning is that the title, the column head, or the column names are different across different files, and also it contains excessive spaces and unprintable characters. So it is not reliable to use these column names directly. So it's better to use the index of the column, which is the ID, the number of the column numbers. So this part is to deal with that. So it works like this. The first is that we're going to have an object to have all the keys of this object obtained from the CSV file. So, but basically it is called the keys, but they are not the properties and they're not the columns. So basically they are the rows. And the last row is a collection or an array of the column names. So the following part is to get the last key and to, according to the index of the last key, to find the column names. So this is the way to find the column names. So once we have the column names, which are corresponding to these names, then we can have the individual column names in this array. So once we have that, and then we're going to use, we're going to cite these names directly and get the data in each column. So this is the first step. And then we're going to run the third step, which is nested in the second one, which is this part. Well, I call it, I used to call it get new virus data, but actually it also contains the part to merge the data, so I'm going to put them together and call it merge new virus data. So in this new virus data, there are a couple of errors, like these reporting times. For these reporting times, there are very few cases, so I excluded them. Then the rest of that were pushed into a new array according to the time. And then I merged the two data into a new data set called all data. So here I didn't use that as a nickname. So I have a clean copy of the new virus data, and then I attach the SARS data into it using this function. And the next, for each distinct time point, I'm going to keep the record with the largest number, so that I don't have, like for the same time point, I have two different values. So this is done by the following steps. The first is that I'm going to sort that by two properties. So this is the way to sort the data by multiple properties. And then next, next I'm gonna use the time point as an index and only push the results into the new data if the time point has never appeared before. So that way I'm gonna have a data set which is the new data set, and it contains the distinct time points. So the next is I made a UTC format. This is actually the standard UTC date time format. The trick is that between the dates and time I have to have a T, and in the last I need to put a Z. So otherwise it might cause error. So anyways, I replaced the original time with this UTC time. This is recognizable by tall chart, tall charts, whereas this moment object cannot be recognized. So with all these steps, and the next is to make the chart. So again, in the beginning, I'm going to delete all the existing chart stuff, and then I'm going to start a new chart. And this is actually pretty cool. So I can specify that for different groups, like for SARS data or the new virus data, different groups, I'm going to have different color. And also I can have the same measure of counting not only for the Y scale, but also for the size of the line. So basically it is showing that how it is growing over time. So by the way, the original one can be found, this type of chart can be found in Tall Charts website. And that one is pretty cool. Basically, it is rebuilding that famous chart that Napoleon, attacked in Moscow and then retreated from Moscow, and how his armies are changing and shrinking in size over time. Here we go. Here we go. This is the original chart example provided by Tall Charts. So I actually, in my case, I simplified that a bit. Many of the functions I did not use. And with that, now I have this chart, and actually you can see how the number of cases are growing over time, and how does that compare to the SARS in